देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्री श्री राधा वृंदावन चंद्र की जाय श्री श्री निताई गौरंग की जाय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जाय. So we have brought to you a new topic today, very interesting one. It's called Beyond Religion. This is a wonderful conversation Prabhupada had with one journal called Bhavan's Journal, one of the very reputed journals in India. So they are always having such discussions with spiritual leaders regarding various current topics or relevant situations of the different aspects of religion. Okay, so we'll have that discussion very shortly. And all these discussions are happening by the inspiration of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who has so mercifully given us these teachings in a way that we can understand them and try to follow the principles in a very, very easy manner. Right? So Prabhupada's grace is so wonderful that he is showering his mercy by revelations to all of us even now in such a wonderful manner. So offering our gratitude to Prabhupada, let's begin our discussions. So as I told you, this particular topic, Beyond Religion, is actually a question answer session basically. The editors of the Bhavan's Journal, one of Bombay's leading cultural and religious periodicals, has asked some questions to Prabhupada, which the devotee will ask one after other, and Prabhupada is going to answer them, right? Very nicely from the Vedic perspective, very wonderfully. Okay. The first question is this. Devotee is asking, it is said that the greatest strength of Hinduism is its Catholicity or breadth of outlook. But that this is also its greatest weakness in that there are very few religious observances that are obligatory for all, as in other religions. Is it necessary and possible to outline certain basic minimum observances for all Hindus? Very difficult question in one sense, right? Yes, of course, Hinduism is very broad, and that also is sort of a weakness, is the question. Because some people say I follow this, some people say something else, right? Whereas in some other specific religions, the followers are strictly following what is being told to them. So the question is basically whether is it necessary to, or is it possible that we can have some minimum norms or minimum sort of standards being outlined for the followers of Hinduism, right? This is the question. So how does Prabhupada answer? Prabhupada is going to answer that actually our religion is called Sanatana Dharma, right? Srila Prabhupada, as far as Vedic religion is concerned, it is not for the Hindus, it is for all living entities. Just see how nicely Prabhupada is bringing out the universality of the Vedic understanding. Because generally people think Veda means Hindu, Veda means specific. It is geographically limited to a specific place. No. This is the way Prabhupada always wanted to, always presented the Vedic understanding, that it is universal, it is scientific. Very important perspective which we have to see. So Prabhupada is very nicely beginning the answer by is clarifying first of all the aspect of Vedic religion or the aspect of the Vedic, because in the question, if you can we'll just go back to the question. There's a lot of aspects of Vedas, Vedic understanding or observances, right? So all these things were being asked as a question, right? Prabhupada is first of all trying to address point by point, and it's saying actually Vedic religion is not only concerned for Hindus, it is for all living entities. Sarva Bhuteshu. This is the word used by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Right? It doesn't restrict that only for Bharatiyas or only for specific region. No. It's for all living entities, not only humans, all living entities. That is the first thing to be understood. Vedic religion is called Sanatana Dharma, the eternal occupation of the living entity. A very important perspective. So, what does religion mean? Dharma. Dharma is a Sanskrit word which basically means that which sustains, that is that which is maintaining you, right? So there are some certain things which, if if one is abiding by uh, according to the standard ways of functioning, then that will abide you, or that will maintain you rather, right? That which sustains. This is the constitutional position of every living entity, especially humans, to abide by certain norms or certain rules and regulations. So the Vedic conception of religion, dharma, means actually religion is an English word which is understood in the present context as some faith. Very important. Today I have some faith. I lie, or I'm aligned to some type of a understanding. Tomorrow I can change it. No, that is not the definition of actually dharma. See, actually, the Sanskrit word dharma has no equivalent in English. It's just a very maybe a semblance of something is. It is this word religion is there, but religion is being misunderstood. It is having different connotations of faith or adherence to one type of a following. That is not the meaning of dharma. Dharma actually, dharma basically means what is very constitutional to your nature. Basic, intrinsic nature it is called. Prabhupada says intrinsic, right? Just like the example is given, the intrinsic nature or quality of sugar is to be sweet. If the sugar is not sweet, then you don't call it sugar. Likewise, the intrinsic nature of every one of us as spirit soul is to serve. And that which sustains that, our service is the rules, regulations as given by Krishna. So dharma is defined very nicely in the scriptures as dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Dharma is the norms or the rules, regulations given by the creator, God himself. That is called dharma. Not that I create something, you create something, that is called dharma. No. Or I concoct something, I manufacture something. It is not called dharma. Very important. Right? These are the basic understandings which we should have before we proceed. So Prabhupada is talking from that background, that understanding. Actually, Vedic religion is called Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana means eternal. Right? So this is Sanatana Dharma means, because all of us are living entities, all of us are spirit souls, all of us have the same type of a dharma in one sense, basically. The eternal occupation of the living entity. Just see. The eternal occupation. Dharma is translated as occupation. Why is occupation required? Occupation is required to sustain yourself, maintain yourself. Right? So Sanatana Dharma means the eternal occupation of the living entity. This is our religion actually. Vedic religion. The living entity is Sanatana, eternal. And God is Sanatana. And there is Sanatana Dharma. Right? We are eternal. Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, very beginning. This body is going to finish one day, but soul is eternal. Sanatana, Nitya. And Lord is Sanatana, eternal. Right? And the various interactions and dealings we have with the Sanatana God, Sanatana entities ourselves, is called Sanatana Dharma, occupation. Sanatana Dharma is meant for all living entities, not just the so-called Hindus. Right? Very bold statement Prabhupada is making. It is meant for everybody. Because all of us are living entities, all of us are spirit souls. It is meant for all entities. First clarification Prabhupada is giving. Hinduism, this ism, that ism, these are all misconception. It's like, people want to align themselves with a specific type of a religion. Christianism, Islam, Judaism, thatism, thisism. Prabhupada says they're all misconception. Why it is misconception? We'll need to understand from Prabhupada's own words. Historically, Sanatana Dharma was followed regularly in India, and Indians were called Hindus by the Muslims. This word Hindu actually is not mentioned in the Vedic scriptures as per the Prabhupada's teachings. Right? There's no such word. It's all coined by the Muslims. The Muslims saw that the Indians lived on the other side of the river Sindh, and the Muslims pronounced Sindh as Hind. Right? There was a river called Sindhu, right, which is flowing in between the land of India, tract of land, and the Muslim countries. So the Muslims couldn't pronounce S as Sindhu. They call it as S as H, Hindu. So Sindh, people who are living this side of the river Sindhu, they're called Hindu. Hindu, that way. That's how it became Hindu. Therefore, they are called Hindustan, and people who live there are Hindus. Right? But the word Hindu has no reference in the Vedic literature, nor does so-called Hindu Dharma. So our actual identity is Sanatana Dharma. We are Sanatanis. Now that Sanatana Dharma or Vedic Dharma is being distorted, not being obeyed, not being carried out properly, it has come to be known as Hinduism. So basically, Prabhupada wants to tell how it is watered down with regard to Sanatana Dharma's principles is watered down into and become one type of a cult or a sect known as Hindu cult or Hinduism. But that is a freak understanding. That is not a real understanding. Like you say, freak out. It's not it's not a very desirable thing, right? Like that, something originally something it is there and it is watered down to something else, right? So Hinduism that way is a watered down version of Sanatana Dharma, not in its pure form. So what does Krishna say in the Bhagavad Gita? We have to study Sanatana Dharma as it is described in the Bhagavad Gita and other Vedic literatures. Then we'll understand what religion is. So Krishna mentions about Sanatana Dharma in the Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada is telling, let's understand the Vedic scriptures. Then we'll come to understand what is Sanatana Dharma, especially Bhagavad Gita. What does Krishna say about Sanatana Dharma? So what is Sanatana Dharma? Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada quotes. In the 11th chapter, 18th verse, there's a nice verse wherein it is said, Tvamaksharam paramam veditavyam, Tvamasya vishwasya param nidhanam, Tvam avyeha shashvata dharma gopta, Sanatanastvam purusho matome. You are the supreme primal objective. You are the ultimate resting place of all this universe. You are inexhaustible and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of the eternal religion, the personality of God. That is my opinion. Yes, see. So Krishna is telling. Actually, here Arjuna is offering praise to Krishna, who was showing his universal form. So very nicely, the description of, rather glorification of Lord Krishna is being given. Tom aksharam param veditavyam. Means you are the supreme primal objective of all the Vedic understanding. And you are the resting place of all this universe. And you are inexhaustible and you are the oldest. Like this, Krishna uses the word Sanatana, Tvam, eternal religion. You are the maintainer of eternal religion, Arjuna says. So in that way, Krishna is that personality who has begun this Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana means actually ever existing. It is not that it has begun at one point of time. It is existing eternally. Prabhupada further says, this understanding is wanted. Krishna is eternal, we are eternal, and the place where we can live and exchange our feelings with Krishna, that is eternal. So our existence is eternal. Everything is eternal. Nonsense. Lord is eternal. The system that teaches this eternal process of reciprocation That is Sanatana Dharma, which is meant for everyone. Very wonderful perspective. We as spirit souls are eternal. God, Krishna is eternal. And the system or the method which teaches this eternal process of reciprocation, because we are all connected to God as part and parcels. So this system that teaches this eternal process of reciprocation is called Sanatana Dharma and is meant for everyone, not only humans, every living entity in one sense. Hmm. So what is the goal of Sanatana Dharma, if that is the case? Right? So first of all, Prabhupada clarified, the religion, Vedic religion is known as Sanatana Dharma. And what does Krishna say about Sanatana Dharma? He is the propounder of Sanatana Dharma, and the eternal occupation of reciprocation with Krishna is called Sanatana Dharma. And what is the goal of Sanatana Dharma? Hmm. So there's one more follow-up question which the devotee asks. Hmm. So what would be the daily prescribed religious observances followed by one who is aspiring for the Sanatana Dharma? What should he do? The complaint is that within Hinduism, or let's say Sanatana Dharma, is such a breadth, there is so much variegatedness in different types. Right? As you can see. Actually, people who say that they are following Hinduism, some people want to worship this devata, somebody want to have this type of ritual, this puja, that, so many varieties. Sometimes you go to Sanatana temple, at least in the Western countries, even in India, there are many temples that have so many, Devi Devatas and many, many religious observances being made. So the question here is basically, what should be the standard? Looks like there are so many things are there. What should be the daily prescribed observance which every Sanatana Dharma follower should follow? Right? Prabhupada says, why do you go to variegatedness? Why didn't you take the real purpose of religion from Krishna? A very pointed, answer Prabhupada is giving. First of all, Sanatana Dharma, as we just now understood, Bhagavad Gita Krishna says, he is the propounder of Sanatana Dharma. Right? Arjuna is admitting this fact. So when you say Sanatana Dharma, it is originating from Krishna. He is supreme Sanatana, he is eternal, and we are also eternal. So we should take directions from that supreme eternal about what I should do, what observance I should follow. Simply, if you concoct a system or simply manufacture your own system and do something, 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 that is not called, no, that is not required, Prabhupada says. Prabhupada is very specific, and he's saying here that why do you go to variegatedness? Why do you want so many varieties? What is the purpose of Sanatana Dharma religion? Krishna is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. Why don't you take it? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. Give up all other so-called dharmas and just surrender unto me. Very simple. This is the purpose of Sanatana Dharma. Goal of Sanatana Dharma, rather. He's saying all the different types of observances you are following, that dharma, this dharma, all that you give up and just come to my shelter, come to my, my shelter, and I will protect you. Surrender to me, Krishna says. So why don't you take the? Why don't you take that? Why are you taking up variegated practices under the name of so-called Hinduism? You see, Prabhupada has very pointed and one direct answer. Why are you getting confused like this? Varieties, that, this, and all. Why are you, getting misled? In fact, Bhagavad Gita also Krishna makes a very important point. He says, it's like we have so many devata worships going on in the name of Hinduism. Krishna condemns that. He doesn't recommend to worship any devata. He says worshipping devata is like you are indirectly worshipping Krishna, but it is not required. Krishna says it's like giving a bribe to an officer. You have work with the main officer, but down the line, some other lower level officers, you are trying to give bribe. Krishna says it is not required. And worship of devatas is totally not recommended by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. So, Prabhupada very, one pointedly is trying to give us the answer with regard to make it very simple, that why so many variegated practices? In the name of Hinduism, why you have to practice so many things? Let us follow one thing. Why don't you take the advice of the Sanatana, Krishna, right? Krishna, who is the origin of Sanatana Dharma, Sanatana, everybody, why don't you take his advice? You refuse to accept Sanatana Dharma, what the Sanatana God says. But you say, how can we avoid so many varieties and come to the right point? So Prabhupada is pointing out the mistake in the question itself. Right? You don't accept Sanatana Dharma, and Sanatana Dharma is propounded by God, Krishna himself. But you are trying to do something else. Hmm. Why accept varieties? Take to this one consciousness. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. So Prabhupada is again reiterating the point. Whatever Krishna says, you follow now. He's telling very simple thing now. Why did you do that? Hmm? So now the point comes how to follow Sanatana Dharma principles. So devotee is asking again to the questions, various aspects. The last point is asking now. How can people do this practically on a daily basis? Means how to follow this aspect of Krishna's instruction, how to surrender to him. How can you do this on a daily basis? So Prabhupada says, how are we doing it? He's referring to the movement which he has started, Krishna conscious movement. He's gone. Is that we are doing not practical? Prabhupada is trying to tell whatever our devotees are doing is what Krishna wants, Sanatana Dharma. Surrender to him and follow. We are showing it practically how to do it. People will manufacture their own impractical way of religion, but they won't take our practical system. Prabhupada is complaining how people have manufactured their own different concoctions with regard to this you have to follow, that you have to follow, but they don't follow the simple process of how we are practicing. This is all as per Krishna's instructions in the Bhagavad Gita. People will manufacture their own impractical way of religion, but they won't take our practical system. That's the problem. Hmm. So what is that practical system Prabhupada is telling? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Man mana bhava mad bhakto mad yaji mam namaskuru mam evaishasi yattante. Simply think of Krishna, become his devotee, worship him and offer obeisances to him. Very simple instruction Krishna is giving. Right? Somebody may think, oh, what about worship of this devata, this ritual, that thing? Nothing required. Krishna says very simple. Simply think of Krishna, man mana bhava. Become his devotee. By thinking of Krishna, by following what Krishna says, you become his devotee. Krishna says, worship him. How to worship him? You can have food offering to him. You can have, you can offer whatever you eat, you can offer it to him, and then you can do arati in a day, once in a day. It is called madhyaji. And offer namaskar to him. Right? Offering namaskar is very simple. Hmm. Where is the difficulty? Where is the impracticality? Krishna says, this is your duty. If you do this, you will come to me without any doubt. Very simple. So that's why in the whole tradition of India, if you see, why so many temples were built of Vishnu, Narayana, Krishna, all over in the Vedic times, because these four things was being taught to everybody. Because temple is there means people will think of Krishna, they'll come to Krishna, they will see Krishna, they will become a devotee, they'll worship him, they will offer namaskar to him. So this the principle what Krishna is mentioning in Bhagavad Gita, in order to practically implement it. That's why temples were being constructed. This was the responsibility of the kings in the Vedic times, that they teach the common public about Sanatana Dharma principle. Sanatana Dharma principle is this, what Krishna wants in Bhagavad Gita. Right? So simply you have to follow this, that's all. So Prabhupada is telling, you come to us, we'll teach you how it is. What is the Sanatana Dharma principles to follow? Krishna says, you follow this, you will definitely come to me, no doubt. So why don't you do that? Why remain Hindu? Why remain Muslim? Why remain Christian? Give up all this nonsense. Very bold statement Prabhupada is making. Simply in the name of religion, name of different various religions, you are dividing yourself and fighting and don't know the purpose of religion. Prabhupada says in one more place, these different religious observances which people are trying to follow is simply like a rubber stamp on your head. Just you say, I belong to this religion, but practically you are not following any principles of that religion. Actually, if you carefully analyze, every religion is teaching people or followers to love God and become devoted to him, take his chant his names. Any religion you analyze carefully. Every religion is teaching this. But the followers who say that they profess this religion, they are not following any principles. Just for the name's sake, they are telling that I follow this, or I am follower of this. I am adherent to this religion. Just to have a rubber stamp on you, say that I belong to this religion, but don't follow anything. What is the use? Just like a person who is just wearing a white coat and say I am a doctor, but is not qualified. Then what is the point? Right? He will only simply cheat people. So this type of a living life, because religion is essential for everybody's life. Dharma, following principles of dharma is essential, as scriptures say. One of the Vedic understanding is that ahara nidra bhaya maithunam cha samanya metat pashubir narana. The four aspects of life with regard to eating, sleeping, mating, defending. All of us are eating, animals also eat. All of us are sleeping, animals also sleep after eating. And all of us are trying to enjoy our senses. Animals also enjoy the senses. We are trying to defend ourselves with missiles, nuclear weapons. Animals also have their own defense mechanism. So actually speaking, there's no difference with regard to the basic necessities of life with regard to animals and humans. Pashubir Narana, Pashu and Nara, there's no difference practically. But scripture said there is one fine difference. Is that we can actually comprehend with regard to the purpose of life. That is called dharmic principles. Dharmic principles is giving you direction in life. It's telling you you are spirit soul. As spirit soul, this is your responsibility to perform. Do this. Dharmo hitesho adhiko vishesho. This aspect of dharma can be understood by humans. And that's why Prabhupada is, telling here very nicely that simply you profess to belong to one sect or one religion or cult, but you're not following anything. Simply you're creating nonsense in this material world. Give up all this and just simply follow what Krishna says. Just surrender to Krishna and understand I am a devotee of Krishna, a servant of Krishna. Then everything will immediately be resolved. So the question basically was, what religious observance or any discipline one has to follow as part of the Sanatana Dharma, as a daily what you should do. Prabhupada says, follow what Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita. Because he is that supreme Sanatana who is giving us the directions of following Sanatana Dharma principles. So Prabhupada now brings in the point of how people in the name of religion, they are trying to cheat. False religions versus real religion. So this devotee is asking a follow-up question. But the Hindus would say there are so many other aspects to Hindu dharma, that ritual, that puja, this yajna, so many things we have to do. What about that? Prabhupada says, real dharma is defined in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Whatever God says, that is dharma. Right? Anything else is there. There are all details maybe at different times and circumstances. But presently, God has given 5,000 years ago, Krishna personally came and gave Bhagavad Gita. And he's teaching what to do. Actually, Bhagavad Gita's final instruction is this only. Sarva dharman bharityajya. Give up everything else what you are following. Simply follow me. Surrender to me. This is dharma. And how to follow that, Krishna says next verse. You think of me, you become my devotee, you offer worship to me, you offer your obeisances to me. That's all you have to do. Only four things you have to do. So Prabhupada says, whatever God says is dharma actually. Not that simply you manufacture some rituals or you follow some things. That is not dharma. Maybe they're all part of the Vedic scriptures, but presently, Krishna, God himself has given those regulations, is telling this is what you follow right now. Now God says, give up all other dharmas and just surrender unto me. So take that dharma. Don't take any other dharma. Why do you want to remain a Hindu? And besides, what Hindu does not accept the authority of Krishna? Right? Again, Prabhupada is trying to tell this Hindu, Christian, Muslim, Judaic faith, all this, these are all one type of a designation only. It's like somebody may say, I'm a businessman, I'm a tailor, I'm that, all designations, right? But actually, you're a human being. That's what Prabhupada want to say. You simply say Hindu, that Hindu ritual, these are all external only. But as spirit soul, you are eternal. You are part and parcel of Supreme Eternal. So, Prabhupada is trying to make this point very clear to this, devotee that yes, you even Krishna is not Hindu. That Krishna is not giving any aspect of Sanatana Dharma principles. It's the question. So there's nobody in Hinduism or people who say that they're following Hindu religion, they don't accept Krishna. Hmm. Ritual, simply you have something or you're following something as a tradition, doesn't mean that it's going to give you the eternal benefit of following the religion, following the particular ritual. That's the point. So here Prabhupada says there is no Hindu who doesn't accept Krishna. Even today, if any Hindu says, I don't care for Krishna and Bhagavad Gita, he will immediately be rejected as a madman. That everybody accepts the authenticity of Krishna, Bhagavad Gita. Nobody can say he's not there. Hmm? So why did you take instructions from Krishna? Why go elsewhere? Prabhupada's focus was very, very one-pointed. He doesn't want to, give, okay, you follow this also, you follow that also, everything you follow. Don't make your life khichdi. No. Your trouble is that you do not know what religion is. And you do not know what Sanatana Dharma is. Again, to reiterate, religion, Dharma means whatever God has ordered. That is called Dharma. And Sanatana Dharma means the eternal occupation of the living entity, which we discussed in the beginning. So nicely, every aspect of what we are hearing or what we know and what we have been following, something is very clearly, nicely defined in a simplistic manner by Prabhupada. Krishna consciousness society, there are many followers who are formerly so-called Hindus, so-called Muslims, so-called Christians. So all of us have come to one platform now in Krishna conscious society. We are having different backgrounds. Maybe we are born to a Hindu family, somebody is born to Christian family, Muslim family, but doesn't matter. We are all come to the Sanatana Dharma platform now. Now, they don't care for Hindu or Muslim or Christian. They care for only Krishna. That's all. That's why we see in this Krishna consciousness movement, ISKCON, people from all nationalities, all backgrounds, all come to one platform of worshipping Krishna. It may look like a Hindu ritual, but actually these various aspects, traditions, are as per the Krishna's directions in the scriptures, in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavata. If you follow a false religious system, you suffer. But if you follow a real religious system, you will be happy. That's the point. So, simply a manufactured, a concocted system you follow. You don't know what you're following, simply for the sake of following, you're doing. Because, my family wanted to, my family tradition it is, and so and so. It doesn't have any purpose. Purpose of religion is what? Purpose of religion is to relieve you from this cycle of birth and death and take you back to spiritual world. That is the purpose of religion. Now, the goal is that you understand that you are part and parcel of Krishna and then act accordingly and perfect your life. So that is not happening, and simply for the sake of formality, you follow something, but there is no the right spirit of what you are following. You don't know. That is what has happened in the present context. People say they follow some religion, but they don't know why they are following what they are following. It's like somebody is going in the car. They ask them, "Where are you going?" I don't know where I am going. It's called madness. Prabhupada says, don't become mad. And out of madness, you simply say, I follow something, but you don't know the purpose behind it. Right? That's the point. So, simply, you are following some fake religion. Fake means you don't know what is the purpose of what you are following. And it is again a concocted type of a religious system. Then you will suffer. So, follow the real religious system, that is Sanatana Dharma principles as given by Krishna and Bhagavad Gita. Then you will be happy. So Prabhupada now comes to the point of telling what is that Krishna telling in Bhagavad Gita as Sanatana Dharma. That is further described as Varnashrama Dharma. Unfortunately, the Indian people gave up this real religious system Sanatana Dharma or Varnashrama Dharma, and accepted a hodgepodge thing called Hinduism. So Varnashrama Dharma is the other way of explaining Sanatana Dharma, right? Eternal religious system. So what is Varnashrama Dharma? Let us understand. So therefore there is trouble. Prabhupada says because we have given up the Sanatana Dharma or Varnashrama Dharma, there is trouble. Hmm? Vedic religion means Varnashrama Dharma, the Sanatana Dharma, the division of society into four social classes and four spiritual orders of life. Very important to understand. So the Vedic system or Vedic religion, Sanatana Dharma, means society was divided into four uh, divisions, four social divisions, four spiritual divisions. Varna means social division, means based on your inclination to work and your guna karma it is called, and your inclination to work and your nature. Like you have one specific nature. Maybe you are very mild. You can't be aggressive like a kshatriya or an administrator. You're intelligent and you're very soft spoken. So maybe it's good for you to become a learned, intelligent person with regard to studying Vedic scriptures called a Brahmana. So society is divided based on your nature and your inclination to work. Guna karma vibhagashaha it is called. So it is not based on birth. Very important. You may be born of a father who is actually a Vaishya. Vaishya means a trades person who is engaged in business, who is engaged in farming, business, crop protection is called Vaishya. But you may have inclination and your nature may be that of a administrator, a Kshatriya, very aggressive, very commanding. Possible, right? So like that, a child born of a father who is having the quality of a Brahmana maybe may become a Vaishya, businessman. It's possible. So, society was very scientifically divided in a wonderful manner, known as Varnashrama Dharma, wherein everybody is doing their work, their occupations, based on the type of inclination which they have and the nature what they have. And according to society was very harmoniously being conducted. And the four spiritual divisions, because everybody's life begins with, as a student life, it is called brahmacharya. And at one point of time, after brahmachari, you have taken proper training, then you enter into grihastha life. It is called household life. And grihastha life is not that whole life you have to be grihastha. No. At one point of time, you have to retire from your household duties. Both husband and wife retire. It is called vanaprastha. They give responsibility to the children and they come out of the home and they are staying in a holy place. It is called vanaprastha. And in fact, it is said after 50th year, you have to take a vanaprastha. Your 50th year. Right, which means nowadays people are all going on in their family life even now. Think that, oh, everything is going well. Prabhupada says, we all become like Dhritarashtra's. Dhritarashtra was staying even in his old age under the care of Pandavas. Like that we have become Dhritarashtra's. So, Vanaprastha at the age of 50, and at one point of time, you have to completely renounce even your wife, your husband, everybody, and then go forward in your spiritual journey called sannyasa. That was the Vedic system. That is called Varnashrama Dharma, right? So, four social divisions, four spiritual divisions. The four social classes are the Brahmanas, priests, and intellectuals are called Brahmanas. The Kshatriyas, political leaders and military men. The Vaishyas, merchants and farmers, and the Shudras, manual laborers. And the four spiritual orders are the Brahmacharis, celibate students, the Grihasthas, householders, the Vanaprasthas, retired persons, and the Sannyasis, renunciants. We just now discussed all these things, right? When all these classes and orders work harmoniously to satisfy the Lord, that is real religion or dharma. This is what Krishna describes in Bhagavad Gita. The Vedic scriptures give us this Varnashrama Dharma, Sanatana Dharma, wherein we have our nature, particular inclination, particular nature, and we have some inclination to work in a specific way. Based on that, you fit in that in that particular say class called Varna, social division, right? So all those people who are having that inclination and nature to work as Kshatriya, they have that responsibility of Kshatriya. So each Varna's specific duties are described in Bhagavad Gita. But right now, what is happening? It's all hodgepodge. Nobody is following Varnashrama Dharma. Everybody is simply professing or trying to tell that I follow this Hindu religion, that religion. But Prabhupada says they're all nonsense. Right? So, the Bhagavad Gita tells us that in the Vedic system, the different Varnas and Ashramas, they all cooperated harmoniously in a way that the Varna, every Ashrama, their focus was how to satisfy Krishna. That was the whole thing. So, Prabhupada says the same thing here. All the orders, all the classes and orders work harmoniously to satisfy the Lord. Some siddhir haritoshanam. That is real dharma, real religion. Right? So, we will discuss more in the next session. Continue. Only one question we have discussed today, which this Bhavan's journal has asked with regard to there are so many observances in the Hindu religion. What should be the discipline to follow? That was the question. For which Prabhupada very nicely explained. Our identity is not Hindu religion. Our identity is Sanatana Dharma. Right? And Sanatana Dharma means eternal occupation of the living entity. And we are also known as Varnashrama Dharma. The goal is to again reinstate our situation of Sanatana nature. Right now, we have got a body and we are going on taking repeated birth and death, and our life is going on. So, we have to revive our eternal nature through specific, say, rules, regulations as given by the Supreme Sanatana Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. And the easiest way is to follow the path of Krishna consciousness as given by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Right? Surrender unto Him, giving up all other so-called manufactured type of different religions and different responsibilities which you think is the highest. Very, very interesting. And the best thing is to simply think of Him, Krishna, become His devotee, worship Him, and offer our obeisances to Him. Okay, so we'll discuss more with next questions in the next session. So I'll conclude here. If anybody has anything to ask, discuss, take a few clarifications, you can ask now. Okay, fine. So we'll conclude here. Thank you, everybody. We'll again come back next week. Hare